Hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video, and for this one it is Marble Madness, which was released by Atari in 1984. Now again, if you are a regular viewer of my videos, you will already have seen a review of this. I reviewed the Amiga version because, well, for one thing, the Amiga conversion of this was the first Amiga game I owned and the first Amiga game I played. And although I was quite keen to get this game, it was a game that I didn't play very often down the arcades, at least not in the beginning. And the reason for it is that I always thought the game looked pretty difficult, and I wasn't that used to the old trackball controller that it used. The only game down the arcades that I used to play that used a trackball was Crystal Castles. I mean, I would occasionally have a game of Missile Command, but more often than not it would be Crystal Castles. So I figured, yeah, the trackball would make the game a bit tricky to play, even though when you see it, you soon realise, yeah, so the trackball is probably the perfect controller for this type of game. So thankfully, this game had something of a cult following, I think, in Southend, because even though this came out in '84, there were still some arcades down here that had this game going into like 89, 90. So I'd had quite a few practice goes on the Amiga version, and then I thought, okay, I'll take the plunge with the arcade version. And something that I forgot to mention on my Amiga review is that it certainly struck me while playing it back then that aside from the very long loading times, the Amiga version was almost arcade perfect. It was that well done. So yeah, after watching this, if, as I suspect most of you haven't, you've not seen the Amiga review, you may want to go and check that one out afterwards as a bit of a comparison. So anyway, let's bung in a couple of credits, preferably by pressing the right button, and off we go. Now, like Crystal Castles, this is configured to use the mouse. Thankfully I can adjust the mouse settings on the fly because it's not very sensitive. So here we go. So the sound is slightly different, and this whole thing of, you know, going straight into the next level without any weight, that took some getting used to for me. I'm trying to knock this fucking marble off. Oh, bollocks to it. Right, wasted enough time there. So yeah, the audio actually seems a bit strange to me because it is very different to the Amiga version. But say that says more about how often I played the Amiga version than anything else. So on to level 3, the intermediate race. There are 5 levels. I assume the game then loops round. I'm fucking making a meal of getting out of here. Here we go. Only just made that. So yeah, I wasted a lot of time around there. Now here, yeah, there are a lot more of these like acid puddles, so getting through there is not as easy as it is on the Amiga version. When I would play the arcade one, I would usually get to the next level, and sometimes I could make it to the one after, but yeah, getting up here is the tricky part. Just made it. But yeah, this is the real tough one. especially as I only have 33 seconds to do it. Avoiding 1, 2. Well, I did well to avoid 2 of those Hoover things. Normally I'd go straight in the wall of them. And I survived that. Oh, fuck. And this is holding me up, yeah. And time out. Well, for me, that was not a bad go. Right, what button do I use to enter? I think it's the start button, yeah. I don't think there are any actual other buttons on this, so at least I don't remember there being. So the way that you could slow yourself down and speed yourself up on the Amiga version, you can't actually do that on the arcade one, which is a bit annoying. Well, it's annoying when you're used to the Amiga version anyway, rather than the arcade one. Right, so let's have another go, and we'll get the review done while we are playing this. Graphically, at the time, it looked fantastic. Yes, it is dating a bit now, but you can't say the graphics are terrible, not at all. 1984, this was quite advanced for 84. They looked properly impressive, especially as there weren't so many jaggies on the diagonal lines, which around this time people were very used to. Fuck it. Oh, I'm sure he was going to fucking get me. In terms of audio, the music is fine. It's all pretty innocuous stuff, you know, there's nothing dreadful about it. There's nothing, you know, supremely remarkable about it either, but I'm lucky there. Sound effects wise, the sound effects again is pretty harmless, but you know, they're not dreadful, but they're not overly memorable. Oh, come on. And then the gameplay, of course, as you cunt. The most important thing, the gameplay is spot on. You know, it's a very playable game. Fucking hell, did well there. It is extremely challenging. Some of these layouts are fucking devious, to put it mildly. Okay, well I did manage to get up there, so, but I did still use an awful lot of time. So I've got 37 seconds to get through this one. Can't see that happening. No, definitely not getting through it now. The trackball would make this so much easier than the mouse. Oh, fucking what? Right. Now I'm going to get knocked off there. Yep, bastard thing. And again, well, he went off as well, but there we go. So, okay, so I'm first, second and fourth on there. And this one does save your scores, which is alright. So, fuck it, we'll have one more go. So yeah, graphics and sound are all pretty innocuous, pretty harmless. They are pretty good, but not outstanding. But there is nothing bad about any of it. And gameplay, say, is quite a challenge. Some of these layouts are, you know, proper devious stuff. But the way the difficulty ramps up is, you know, it's not too sudden. It's quite a gentle, you know, difficulty curve. Oh, fuck it. So, what do I rate it? Well, I think I underrated the Amiga version. I gave it 6 out of 10. I think it deserves a bit more than that. The big problem with the Amiga version is the very long loading times between levels. Of course, this doesn't have that. You know, straight into the next level, which, to be honest, I find difficult to get used to. I'm so used to having so much time between each level. That's better. Which it means I'll fuck up around here, yeah. Oh, fuck it, yeah, here we go. There we go. So I think for a rating, I think this also applies, well no, the Amiga version I think will go down half a point off of this one. So I'll bump up the Amiga version's rating to 7 out of 10. I'm fucking this up big time. I'm not even going to get off this. Oh, fucking hell. 1 second left. Well, I'm certainly not getting off this level then. So I'll bump the Amiga version up to 7 out of 10, and I'll give this 7.5 out of 10. It may feature, you know, the old countdown, the old timer, which I don't like, but I mean, with a game like this, the design, I guess it has to have that. And there we go, game over. So, there we go, Marble Madness, arcade version, yeah, from Atari. Yeah, I'll give this 7.5 out of 10, and I'll bump up the Amiga version, the score, to 7 out of 10. The Amiga only loses the half point because of the long loading times, but other than that, the Amiga version really does seem to be pretty much arcade perfect. It's a shame that there were so many other arcade conversions on the Amiga that were not. So there we go, that is Marble Madness then. That brings this video to an end, and we shall see you at the next one.